This is Chap Taylor.
And Dave Metzger. We're the writers of number 107, The Architect.
And you're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Nut up and get your hack on. Welcome to the Blacklist Exposed. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
Did you say nut up?
Nut up.
Okay.
It was in the show.
All right, then. And my name is Agent Aram Peterson, and I want my Aram spinoff now. Is that Hack-demption or Mr. Blacklist? I don't know what you call it, but I want that.
Code-demption.
Code-demption?
Yeah, code. CODE.
Code. I gotcha. Thanks for joining us once again as we discuss number 107 on the Blacklist, The Architect, which aired February 16th, 2017. I should probably just go back to bed.
You just really want it to be next week's double parter already.
I do. I'm very excited. It was written by Chap Taylor and Dave Metzger and was directed by Christina G or G. I don't know which way to say it, so I'm saying it both, who I believe is directing her first episode of television ever here.
That's my understanding as well. Congratulations.
Yeah. Woohoo. Show notes and other intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at TheBlacklistExposed.com. One reminder, once again, we're going to do this every week until you get sick of hearing it, that our Blacklist panel for C2E2 is Saturday at 3 p.m. on April 22nd at the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo in room S402. That's S402. And that is, once again, April 22nd. Tickets for the expo are $70 for the weekend or $40 just for Saturday. The room we have holds 300 people, so many of you that are within a day's journey of Chicago. It'd be fantastic if you guys would come on out. We're going to do some trivia, get some scoop, and get ready for the final episodes of Season 4. Plus, those that are listeners of this here podcast, we're going to have a meetup shortly afterwards so that we can see all your smiling faces around some beverages, and there is nothing better than me drunk. Again, April 22nd, 3 p.m. inside the Blacklist at C2E2, room S402, and it's McCormick Place in downtown Chicago. John Bokenkamp is supposed to be there, and maybe some surprises.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who comes. Cross your fingers. All right, last week we asked you to answer the profiling question of the week, which was, is Ressler becoming a liability?
Dun, dun, dun. Kevin says probably. All those concussions take a toll on the dude.
Do you miss those days when Ressler was getting beat up every second of the episode?
No, I feel bad for him. I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, look at the NFL. So much damage comes from all those hits.
It's true. It is true.
And his hair still hasn't moved.
Just saying. Karen, no way. He is maturing, but at heart, his moral compass is true north.
I agree with that. He is very true north. Dudley Do-Right. Kathy says, of course not. He's one of the good guys. He has faults like all of us. Excuse me, Kathy. I have no faults. Thank you.
New commenter, Reddington.
Total lie. Like everything's a fault with me.
Exactly. Reddington is right to feel the death approaching him, only it will not be from Kaplan or whoever is behind Isabella Stone or the Cabal. It'll be from this guy.
Oh, you think Ressler's going to kill Red at some point?
Yeah.
Ooh. I like where your mind goes. Gene says Ressler is not the liability. Samar is. That bitch. That was the best line of the episode, by the way. That was fantastic. Anyway, she needs to... Wait, I said that. Wait, okay. I'm talking about her line. I am not saying that about
her.
Samar.
Yes, we got you.
Do not write a letter. All right. She needs to be eliminated.
Send an email instead.
Yeah, please do. She needs to be eliminated. Support Aram can move on to... I lost my train of thought because I got so worried about what people are going to send me. All right, so...
Gene said...
Thank you. She needs to be eliminated so poor Aram can move on with his life and not be subjected to her mind games anymore. You shut it. Samar's not going anywhere. You hear me? She's staying.
Speaking of that, you had the Hollywood Outsider episode this week about TV deaths that you cheered for. Mm-hmm. And I totally forgot to get in on that because I was going to say Mira Malik from season 1. I was like, yeah, she's gone.
Did you hear the part of... Did you hear the part about Agnes?
Yeah, I did. That was funny.
Sorry. Blacklisters, you probably didn't listen to my other podcast, so that's good. That's good news for you.
That's at thehollywoodoutsiders.com.
Please, showrunners, don't listen to that episode.
Neil said, he may have a struggle, Ressler, but he won't be a liability.
Tiffany, if not Ressler, then Cooper. Both of them seem to be getting tired of doing Red's handiwork and seems to have forgotten that he's in for the long con. And the cabal seems to have dropped from everybody's vocabulary. I agree with that. I was actually going to bring that up. I haven't heard, and Hitchens, haven't even heard from her in forever.
Her name came up this episode.
Well, their name came up, but I mean, we haven't actually seen her.
Foreshadowing.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maricel. So far, Ressler has always managed to do the right thing. But after all the flaws and injustices in his government that Ressler has recently discovered, I wouldn't be surprised if he does something drastic, like Liz did at the end of season 2. Whatever happens, I'm just glad for a Ressler storyline.
Priscilla, Laurel Hitchens will make it seem like he's a liability. Oh, and she will probably frame him for coming after her for Reverend Wright's death. I actually like that idea. Put Ressler down a hole and see where he comes up kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's going down a dangerous path to continue on the investigation, but that's Ressler, always seeking justice. It will be a good storyline for him. I agree. I would like that a lot.
I'm putting that one on the board. Boop.
We have a board? When do we get a board?
2 things up on the board. Got to go back and listen to the tape. All right.
Is beep like the audio impression of putting it on the board? That is?
Let's put the pin in it. Boop.
Okay. All right. Got it.
There you go. Sharon said, no, that role belongs to the baby. Again, thehollywoodoutsider.com.
Rachel Town says, I don't think so. He always keeps his emotions in check, except in situations that involve his brother or like with Audrey. But if his brother dies on Reddington's watch, he is going to bring down the wrath.
True. Linda said, hope. Nope, but I threat or curiosity to Red. Maybe the character to figure out the whole Liz story as he unearths details of Tommy Larkin while digging into Revan's death.
All right, and thanks. Oh, that's you.
Oh, sure, I could say that. Thanks as always for the great responses. What's our question this week, Aaron?
It's going to be, why does Cooper want Maine Justice's approval?
Red was wondering too, so why not make it the question?
He was, yeah.
Why is it
and
so
also,
important?
if you want to throw in add on to that, what do you guys want from Redemption? I would like to know that too.
Yeah. That'd be really great. All right, with that, let's go to this week's case profile in 3, 2, 1. Execute.
That was well done. You have a job as an actor, I think, maybe. Not a good one.
I just like looking at pocket watches.
We open the architect with a convict who receives a prison map in his Bible. That's where you normally would get one. Don't they ever check these books? I mean, really, people are always sending like things to break out lockpicks, guns, whatever in Bibles.
Well, because it was just a piece of paper. They probably scanned it and was like, oh, it's a bookmark.
Mm-hmm. This leads us to a group led by the architect, who's played by Brent Spiner. Yes, Data is here on the Blacklist. And what the architect does at full price, he will design, construct, and carry out the perfect crime because Michael Schofield is not available.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. He's in Philadelphia recruiting hackers from an underground gathering known as Black Mass 13, which sounds like an occasion for Aram to hit the field.
Super excited.
What do you think about this? I mean, Aram's back in the field, and this was very much an Aram episode.
And I think that's the one thing that people are either really liking or really disliking about the Blacklist right now. I personally like it when we get to have like a centric episode on each one of the characters because it's really become an ensemble cast after 4 seasons. I love the fact that we have Aram, and especially the ability for Aram to grow in his character. When you think about all the way back to like Ansel Garrick and Liz handing him the gun as they're trying to figure out how they're going to break everybody out of the box and save everybody. It's just a great character progression for the Aram character, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later because what he does in this episode is kind of surprising.
To a degree, it was very Schwarzenegger is what it was. I loved it. Well, what happens is after he infiltrates the local Mr. Robot fan club, Data, a.k.a. the only good thing about Independence Day Resurgence, a.k.a. the architect, shows up. He needs hackers to hack a power grid in Southern Virginia. Reminds me, did you see Independence Day Resurgence?
No, you told me not to, so I haven't yet.
Awful. But he was great. He's the only good thing in that movie. He's it.
Well, see, I love how everybody, even on Twitter and stuff during this show, oh my gosh, it's Data from Star Trek Next Generation. If you ever noticed like his smile on his face during this episode, it's really more his brother Lore. Lore was really the one that was out in force, not Data this week.
What do you mean?
Well, because in the Star Trek Next Generation, Brent Spiner played two characters, Data and his brother android, Lore.
I didn't know that because I didn't watch it.
And this is actually Lore in full form here. I was really impressed to see that kind of smirk. And I was like, ooh, that's the Lore character coming out.
That's interesting, but I didn't watch it, so I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you filling in the blanks because now I know. He had like an evil twin, one of those deals?
Very much had an evil twin. Very evil.
Sounds a little soap opera-ish.
And he had feelings. So that was the difference of why he was more evil.
Feelings for what?
He's a robot that had feelings.
That's why you connected. Never mind. Yeah. I get it. I get it. Because it's like it was family for you. It was like seeing somebody from the old tree. The lineage popped up.
Totally.
I got you. That leads us to Aram and Elise Tasker. That's a movie joke. To try and save everyone. It doesn't work completely, and Aram gets took, leading the task force to save them. This is the basic crux of the story. And basically what they were trying to do is break out Lonnie Perkins, who's the president of the Aryan Revolutionary Council. He was scheduled to be executed, but the architect's there to break him out. So what do you think? That's the basic crux of the episode. What do you think of going this route?
I'm still trying to tussle with it in my mind because it goes back to the whole, what does the blacklist mean? And should there be a tie to Reddington? And this one seemed like, because they captured Lonnie Perkins, they killed the architect, just another day at the post office catching bad guys. And it really had no intrinsic addition to the overall mythology, story arc, etc. So it just felt like a very standard case of the week kind of thing. I enjoyed the episode thoroughly. I thought it was absolutely fantastic to see, again, the Aram character growth especially, and of course seeing Annie Heiska's character come back with Elise, Janet, whatever you want to call her these days. Really great to see her come back and that they could work that character back in somehow, because I think she was fantastic on the show so far. All in all, I think it's interesting, but I go back to the, why are we talking about the white supremacy type stuff? And unless Lonnie was going to be something long term, I don't know if it had to be a white supremacy group specifically. It could just be a general killer. So what's the concept of the white supremacy group coming out that they wanted to hit on home there?
Well, Reddington had to throw somebody out there. That's why. So there's a connection. It works.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, at least the number was in the hundreds and not like in the teens. Because then it would have been like, what did this have to do with him being so high up on the blacklist kind of thing is the questions we'd be asking. So 107, yeah, we're good with that.
I have come to the conclusion that there are two things I'm just going to ignore and just enjoy, because I enjoy the show and I got tired of being hung up on it. One is the Liz and Tom relationship. It is what it is. It's not going away. And number two is why everybody's on the blacklist. I don't care. Just slap him a number. I don't care. Just make him interesting. And he was interesting. Nice bad guy. I enjoyed it. And I love anytime you get Amir out in the field and letting him, I think he really holds it together. I mean, like I said, he's the heart of the show. So I really enjoyed it. Moving on to characters before we get in. So then we can go a little bit more in detail into this episode. Let's hear about the music.
Yeah, the tunes this week. While Lonnie has his last meal in prison reading the good book, we hear Merle Haggard's Mama Tried. Then upon arriving at Black Mass and questioning Elise for not being in jail, we hear Death Battalion rattling the warehouse from Heaven Below. And as
Heaven or Heaven?
Heaven.
It's spelled heaven, right?
I think it is. Heaven Below. As the competition heats up and the architect crashes the party, we hear Second Chance from Sarone. And then Symphony No. 3 in D major plays as David arrives back home to see Red getting his portrait painted. And then finally, Haley Ross's Barracuda plays over the final scenes as Red and Harold have a chat, and Elise apologizes to Aram for using him.
Yeah, you notice she didn't actually say if it was special for her or whatever, but she did apologize.
So it must have been. At least when the lights were out.
Maybe. Wow. All right, first up, Isabella Stone, little cleaning up here. Red confronts Isabella and learns that she blames Red for her husband's death. They even played euchre together.
I was excited. I was like, I'm in.
God.
I'm going diamonds and I'm going alone.
I knew you'd enjoy that. But it turns out he's not dead. That's convenient. I didn't really like that. I'm like, come on. I mean, can Red just be the bad guy instead of he's trying to help? I mean, let him have killed her husband. I'm fine with it. But he's not dead.
Are these things, though, that are, what do you want to call it, foreshadowing, cross conversational? Are we supposed to read into that somehow and take that to mean part of the greater mythology? The whole part of he's not dead, but I'm not going to let you see him because he would not like the person you've become. Is he kind of what do you call it? Not etymology, not eulogy. I can't think of the word, but is he kind of self-declaring, self-prophesizing about himself and how he feels about the situation with Katerina in that same regard?
Possibly, sure. I mean, if you look really deep into it, damn, son.
I mean, otherwise, what's the point of having the conversation and bringing it up? Like you said, your husband's alive. Too bad for you. he just likes to poke on people like he's a second grader. Well,
and also just to torture because she did kind of ruin his life a little bit.
And if she is Judith Pruitt, I can't talk today. Why keep referring to her as Isabella Stone?
Because she's no longer Judith Pruitt. She changed, just like he's now Red Reddington as opposed to whatever he was before. And Tom is Tom Keene as opposed to Jacob, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
As Elizabeth as Masha. So what's Aram's secret name going to be?
Yeah, they didn't give him a cool hacker name, did they?
That's what I really was waiting for that for the entire episode. Give him a
should have called
identity.
him Lore. That's what they should have called him.
That would have been great.
Damn it!
With a
Missed
zero.
Opportunity.
Yep, Lore with a zero.
Well, anyway, Red set him up elsewhere, and now he's married. Ouch! That burns. But that does prompt her to lead Red to the bank, where the funds were coming from, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
How many banks does Red have?
Well, he said one of his accounts, so I'm assuming he has several.
Yeah, this guy, then he had the bank where the lady who had the photographic memory was able to remember all the accounts, and then there was the bank where he went and had the Stroganoff dinner. So, interesting how these are all spread out across the world. You can only FDIC insure your money up to $100,000, so you have to spread your money around when you got, $2 billion or whatever he's got in the bank.
He's got more than you. How about that?
That he does.
Like when he goes on vacation, he's not worried about it.
Well, I don't know. Remember, he lost all that money. He might be below me now.
He's got multiple accounts. I think he's still all right. He's still moving around pretty fine. Elise is back. Let's go to Elise. She is now an asset for the NSA. So remember when she betrayed Aram, and there were some people who didn't know who she was because she looks a little different with her hair.
Well, yeah, blonde to brunette.
Yeah.
That's a big change, plus the glasses.
I got so many people like I am and me asking, who is this girl? How is she connected? I'm like, that's Elise. Who's Elise? That was the girl because she does. I mean, she almost looks like a different person. I didn't recognize her at first either.
Well, I think I am'd you too. And I was like, is that Elise?
Yep.
Because she looked a little bit different. I'm glad they actually said her name as they were walking down the hallway to confirm it, because you really couldn't tell that it was Annie, the actress, until more towards the end when they were on the phone conversation together, and she leaned forward and it's like, oh yeah, it is her.
And she, we had talked about when they had that episode when Aram and her got into a fight and she beat his silly ass. That was the quack quack bitch episode. I still want that on a t-shirt. But we really wanted her to come back. We really enjoyed her. She was a fun ad, and I think they have a nice dynamic, those two. So it was great to see her back. Her moment with, hey, Samar. that was great. It's like Samar had that fantastic line where she's like, that bitch. And then she's like, hey, Samar. Like, just that interplay was great. I just love that.
And I'm
but
good,
her moment,
and you know what? And I'm good with that dynamic. People are like, I don't want love triangles on the show. I don't want it to be soap opera. That's fun. I want more of that, please.
Yeah, that one was fun. That one was definitely fun. Because there's no bad, negative. I mean, other than she betrayed him and stuff, it wasn't physical. It was just, she just tried to screw him over for national secrets. That's no big deal. It happens. The I am sorry moment. Were you a fan of that? Did it work for you?
I did. I could see these two actually working together. It's almost if they were to go to a season 5 potentially. I'd love to see this character be part of the team, to be quite honest. I think it'd be fun. Or
Did
maybe
you say if? Don't say if, because then people think the show is going to get canceled or something.
I didn't want to say definitely either, because then people are like, Troy said season 5's coming.
There's no confirmation one way or the other as of yet. But
correct.
I see no reason why it wouldn't be.
No. All signs point to that it should come back. Or maybe it's an interplay thing. We haven't seen a lot of these other like agencies and stuff. She's like, which of the three are you working for? Well, I'm working for the NSA. So it might be fun to have a little more interagency play when season 5 does appear.
I like that. I loved Aram's response, like, really? To the NSA thing. Like, why would you work for them? I just thought that was funny.
Or where it was like, really? Why did they pick you instead of me?
I didn't see it. I didn't take it that way. I thought it was more like, why would you pick them? You know, but what do I know? Dembe speaks Italian. We find out there was a girl. Good to know. And a question came up because by the end of the episode, I'm serious for a moment. At the end of the episode, obviously we find out that Red is betraying Red, which seems odd. Why would you do that? Maybe it's while he's dressed as Katarina or something. Huh? Anyway, so the obvious response or the obvious thought pattern would be that it's Kaplan. Kaplan is behind everything because we haven't seen her since she hopped in the pickup truck and drove away. That's got to be who's behind everything. She would have access to everything. She would have access to his account. She would have access to his contacts. That seems the obvious answer. Some people say that's too obvious. I say that doesn't make it wrong. I mean, just because it's obvious doesn't make it wrong. I still think that's a cool way to go. But many people said there's only two people that would really have that insider knowledge. One is Kaplan, the other is Dembe. So my question is, do you think Dembe is complicit in any way?
It's a possibility because the Kaplan thing is interesting. And given that where everything happened, you built all that storyline up last year, you almost have to have that pay off somehow. But at the same time, like we were talking about, she could be the hero too. She could realize this is going on, and this is how she gets back into Red's good graces. So it's more interesting if Dembe was the one to do it, because then you had the whole Dembe came to Liz's apartment, told her about Kaplan. Maybe Dembe and Liz are working together against Reddington. Now, that would be an interesting story.
It could be, yeah, because, I mean, Dembe has made several comments about it. I mean, he's made his opinion known, and Red has really kind of talked down to him about it. So it could very well be I'm teaching him a lesson. I'm contributing. Maybe I'm working. I found out Kaplan's alive, and I'm working with Kaplan to teach you a lesson. It's for your own good, one of those things. I mean, I could see it. I don't believe that's the case, but I could see it. How's that?
Well, he could also be working, maybe it's not him and Liz working together, maybe it's him and Marvin Gerard working together, because he's just sitting back there on the banana plantation, hanging out, having a good time. He could do all this stuff from afar, because he has access to
him and Kaplan.
He doesn't know that, because then that doesn't work.
Well,
because
we don't know that he knows. It doesn't mean that, I mean, he spends a lot of time off camera. You know, he could be doing a lot of stuff in between snowboarding and whatnot and fighting fires. Maybe he's talking to Kaplan. We don't know.
Potentially.
There's an opportunity there. You got a lot of time where Dembe is not on screen.
I mean, he could sell it really well. He does sell Italian really well, so.
Yeah, I thought he spoke Italian. Who knows? I mean, there was a girl.
Rapido.
Samar, there's a lot of subtle, I mean, almost like she's his girlfriend moments throughout the episode where she says he looks very handsome. That bitch. I like Caddy Samar.
I do too.
Do you feel like she's, it felt like almost like they were in a relationship to a degree, but we obviously haven't seen that come to fruition. So did you get that vibe? Because, I mean, there's several nods where I felt like this is almost like a relationship. It's not coworkers at this point.
Well, when she was sitting there doing the surveillance, yellow hat, twilled jacket, very handsome, I was like, well, wait, what? She just said that in front of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But again, handsome doesn't mean like, you're super hot kind of thing.
No, but it's not something I would typically lay on a coworker. Hey, you know what? You are very attractive today, because that's what lands you in HR. So I've heard. Repeatedly. From my HR director.
Yes.
Yep.
You are the slime of the earth.
Cooper, which I like that aspect. I enjoyed it. But now, that's really all she got to do this episode.
Now that bitch, that line, I think screams more to the relationship than the handsome line.
And she did it to Cooper. Like with Cooper on the phone, man. It was hysterical. And it took me completely by surprise. I'm like, what just happened? Oh, I loved it. That's my favorite moment of the episode by far, by a mile. And second is Aram blowing stuff up. But let's go to Cooper, man. He is pissed this episode. Pissed. He wants a name, a super criminal, and he wants it now. Red gives him the architect, which is great. Why do you want to appease them so badly? Will we ever find that out? That's what Red says, and that kind of goes to your question of the week. So what is your thought on that?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about before we go to the thoughts on it is the expression Cooper has when Red delivers that line. They look at each other like there's something between the two of them before he kind of like scoffs and walks away. I thought that was quite interesting for some reason. I don't know. It just seemed awkward. Like there was more to that line that we needed to be taking a look at. Go watch that scene again. It's like, I wonder why. And Harold's like, shut it, and then walks away. So I think there's more to that line for some reason.
You think so? You don't think it was just a throwaway?
No, I think there's something to it, because when you think about what Main Justice is all about in the post office, and these guys have been bringing in these bad guys, and if they're saying, hey, you're a liability, again, the Cabal had the ability to, interrupt operations here with the post office all the way back from, Fitch and Diane Fowler, and all the way back in season 1, all the way to Laurel Hitchens. And so I think that there's something more at play here, and potentially do we see Cooper doing something to go against Red because of this? It seems, but then you get to the end of the episode and Cooper has this heart to heart with him about his daughter and all this other stuff, and it drives the point home that they have this friendship, but yet they're still kind of frenemies at the same time. But that I felt like that conversation was talking to him more as a friend than a frenemy. Like you just don't get it. You can't see it. Like every time I tell you, you just don't see the fact that you're hurting people, Red. You got to stop. So it seems like he has general compassion for him in that conversation.
I think a lot of people are paying attention to that line. Why do you want to appease him so badly? Will we ever find that out? To me, it's deflection, because Red is really the bastard here. I mean, he totally betrayed the FBI and assaulted the FBI. If I'm in Cooper's shoes, I would be pissed too, and I would see him as a liability. I would see him as a problem. And I think Red was trying to throw it back at him. That's how I see it. And Cooper wasn't having it. So that's how I took it.
But Red still kept his word. He still gave Isabella Stone back.
It doesn't make it right, though. I mean, he attacked the FBI. And yes, he did get Isabella back, but only after he served his own selfish needs, which is kind of what Cooper's point was.
True.
You still burn me in my department's eyes because you attacked us. You didn't attack someone else. You attacked us this time. That's what people seem to be missing is like, he could have killed FBI agents to get Isabella. I mean, they could have been seriously injured in a car crash or whatever. He attacked them.
Yep, he did.
Yeah. So there you go.
Good point.
All right. Well, he has that tough talk with Red at end, calls him selfish like you were already talking about. But then he says, ooh, ouch. He's going home to people who love him. Damn.
People is the plural of person.
Sure, Charlene's probably there. I don't get it. I would have kicked her out, but whatever.
Because I remember the daughter, but I don't remember if he had like a son or another daughter in the household. So when he said people, I was like, ooh, Charlene and him got back together.
Does that make you happy?
That doesn't make me happy or sad one way or the other. I'm just glad there was some kind of a nod to it, and then you can interpret it how you want to interpret it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's a relationship that I'm not really invested in.
Could be going home to his new girlfriend too.
Ooh, that would be cooler. Yeah, he's got maybe he's dating Elise.
That's a little weird, but okay.
Do a complete thing, and then we'll have a real triangle. And like at the end of the season, Aram finds out, and he's like, "Oh no, you didn't!" And then things go crazy, and he grabs another grenade launcher. Yeah, all right, I'm probably going too far. Let's go to Ressler, who has a sweet secret decoder ring called a foot. I don't know if that was a brilliant idea or really stupid. I can't decide. I'm like, he could have smashed whatever was in there, but it does work. You can't argue with the proficiency.
Well, and how cheap is that box that he could just smash it with his foot? You think that would be more made out of metal if it's got a giant combination on it?
It's pretty funny.
Maybe that's the whole purpose, is that you have to see beyond the code.
He went all gnome on that box. It turns out he's still irate about Reverend Wright's death. He's he's obviously going to be causing some problems. Whether or not he turns out to be that liability we talked about last week or not, we're still going to find out. But I am concerned for his safety at this point. By bringing this back up, it's going to be a problem. Cooper keeps trying to warn him, and I don't think he's going to listen.
Yeah, I think that he is really going to be digging in his own grave at this point. I hate to see, the character get killed or incarcerated or something, but I feel like something's going to happen to Ressler. We've been clamoring for a better story for him, for a couple episodes. I think this will be very interesting to see how it's all going to interweave, and maybe this is what brings the Cabal back out on the market, and we find out the Cabal is partially behind all this stuff with Reddingtons too, because remember, Reddington has kind of taken over the Cabal in a way after the events of Season 3, so maybe information is leaked out through that group because of his involvement with the Cabal.
Mm-hmm. It's possible. Be interesting to see where that goes. I just want to point out, I'm not necessarily, even though I know he was trying to save Aram, he was worried Aram was going to get killed or whatever. I don't know if I agree with his Ressler's plan of just driving up on the architect and just randomly shooting. I don't know if that's the best course of action.
If you're going to drive up like that in the wide open, then you got to keep driving and take out one of the trucks at the same time, crash into it.
Yeah, and if you notice, like, when he pulls up, he kind of swings a little to the side, and it's Samar's side. So I'm like, you just threw your partner into, like, gunfire. What the hell, man?
That's because she broke up with him.
Yeah. God, I almost forgot about that. It's been so long.
I know.
So it could work. Elise could hook up with Cooper. There's precedent now.
I guess.
For coworkers to swap. Let's make it. I just want her back in the show. I really like Elise. I think she's funny. All right. Moving on to Liz. Really had, other than admiring Ressler's decoding skills, she really has, and addressing some of the plot developments with Tom, Liz is really in the background this episode. Again, 2 episodes in a row.
She also forgot the first rule of parenting, is that you never go wake up a sleeping baby. Tom was like, don't go in there.
Yeah, we don't see Agnes this episode, do we?
Once. She was in the high chair next to Tom.
You're right. Who's watching this kid? Well, he's off gallivanting and, threatening grandmas and stuff. Who's watching Agnes? Do we have a sitter established?
I believe that they could just hire somebody from the apartment building. Why not? They're living a normal life now, remember?
But she's still, seen as Masha Rostova, right? I don't know. Whatever. It just seems like Tom's picking up and bailing pretty often.
Yeah, it was easier to believe that someone was watching the baby when there was actually Boz outside the front door.
Yes.
In the fake apartment. Now we're like...
Now I just keep seeing Tom traveling the country, and I'm like, who's watching the kid? Is Agnes in the car? Where's Agnes at? Did you leave her with Rick Grimes? Huh? That's a nice little connection.
HollywoodOutsider.com.
Tom says he finds out the game is dead, but Tom decides he's going to, like I said, leave the kid with a sitter. And he threatens Grandma, who is Games' mom, which, did you like that? He's actually threatening an old lady.
Well,
it was kind of...
it is what it is. I like the spin he had on it. Like, I'm going to try to get, justice for your son. And he's all nice and happy about it.
With a Glock at your head. Yeah, I'm here for your son.
Well, the second time around, it's a little bit more, he was pissed off. She lied to him.
Well, that's a good reason to shove a gun in a grandma's face. Absolutely. You know what? Anytime I'm mad at my grandma when she was alive, I always shove firearms in her nose.
He just didn't want her to make a phone call. He was like, "Ooh, I like your flip phone. Can I have it, please?"
I said I wanted biscuits and gravy. Anyway, Grandma gives up the information. Turns out Game had Chickens Fowler. I don't know if that's real, but I like the name because Chickens Fowler. Get it? Fowl.
Yeah.
That's how I heard it. I don't know if that's right, but that's how I heard it. Turns out it's incredibly contagious. He was quarantined, and find out he was paid $100,000 she was paid $100,000 to convince her son to confess. And he also finds a script where all the details of his murder were. What do you think about this whole development?
Can I just throw one thing out there? We had the whole what was
seriously, dude, it's your podcast. You can throw out whatever you want.
We had the whole the Black Plague episode and the coffee can, and then you had the paper that was inside, and it was all yellow and stuff. Why is your script in this coffee can pure white? Christopher Hargrave is 35 years old now. That paper should have been super yellow.
Well, now we're nitpicking.
I'm just
Let
saying.
me rephrase that. Now you're nitpicking.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Well, maybe it was because she is a grandma. She cans her applesauces. It was in a tightly sealed mason jar. That could be potential. That's why it was still bright white when it came out of the can.
Okay. My
grandma made the best applesauce.
Did she?
She did.
And if she made it wrong, did you stick a gun in her face? Because apparently that's how we handle things.
Hey, gotta get what you need. You need the recipe.
I guess. I actually there's a weird aside. I had a friend whose grandma had this recipe for these pretzels, like seasoned pretzels. And it was like a specific seasoning. Like she made it herself. It was fantastic. And she would never give that recipe out, like ever, to anyone that wasn't family. So now I know how I can get it. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Tom, for the tip.
Except you'll use a rail gun instead of a clock.
I use a nail gun's what I'll use. Yeah. Because it's cheaper and less traceable. All right, Red. That sounded so disturbing. He spends most of the episode hunting down who's paying to ruin him. Isabella leads him to David Levine, who runs the bank that financed this operation. And after some manipulation, how'd you like this whole thing with Roberto the painter?
The painter's awesome.
And how he moves it around and basically has him paint red instead. I thought that was a nice touch. But he finds out, all of that was to find out that it's him. It's him.
Yeah, I love the whole thing. Like, is this a trick? Are you trying to set me up? Are you testing me? Like, where is this going? And then Red's like, just give me the name. It's like, well, it's you jackass.
Did you? I wish you would have said it just like that. Did you think that it was going to be Red? Did you think it was going to be like, it's Kaplan, it's Dembe? What did you think was going to happen there?
I was surprised that he said it was you, Reddington. I thought that it would be something weirder or different, or I was expecting like a Dembe or Kaplan, but I was shocked to see it. Oh, you're doing it to yourself. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting twist, because that at least narrows down the field of who it could be.
What is your take on this? Because we talked about Dembe earlier, so we don't need to bring him up. But Kaplan is the obvious answer. Yes?
Well, because the way they left it at the end of the fall finale, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I mean, there is a possibility that it's someone we don't know yet. It's something we're not aware of yet. Maybe even Kaplan's working with someone else. That's possible too.
Whoever picked up the Kaplan in the truck. The driver could be that person.
Possibly. I mean, that truck didn't really scream master criminal, but it's possible, sure.
Neither did Nate's station wagon, but...
So what is your opinion on this? I mean, do you have a firm opinion on who is behind everything? Do you think it is Kaplan, or do you subscribe to the theory that just because it's too easy, it can't be true?
I subscribe to because it's too easy, I don't want it to be true, because I want Blacklist to keep me having surprises even 4 seasons in. I don't want it to be so telegraphed that you're like, because then it's not interesting and fun anymore.
I disagree, man. I still think it's a great twist. I don't really care if I predicted it. I think we've gotten to a point in TV where we just have to be surprised with everything. Sometimes it's not the matter of being surprised, because to me, surprise only works once. If you actually play something out smart and interesting, it works repeatedly. So if we're surprised, but it's not really that cool, who cares? But if we get to that point and it is Kaplan and it's an awesome moment, that I can rewatch over and over. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let me put it to you this way. Is it because of the fact that we know Kaplan's alive? Because what we have to remember, we have to remove ourselves from the show and put ourselves in the positions of the characters. Mm-hmm. So to the characters, to Dembe, to Reddington, Kaplan would be a huge shock because they assume she's dead. So does it make you more frustrated then that we know Kaplan's alive? Would it have been better to just end Mato 402 with Kaplan shot laying on the ground and not done any of the mountain man forest tracker guy stuff and the car driving away? Just leave that all in suspicion, so that if Kaplan is the big bad, then there's that Buffy reference again. But if Kaplan's the big bad, then it would be like, holy crap, and everybody realizes it at the same time. Like, which would you prefer? Do you prefer I think it's Kaplan because I know what all happened with Kaplan, or would you rather it just be, oh my gosh, Kaplan's still alive? That's freaking fantastic. Or do you think it's, if you wouldn't have known and it's Kaplan, you're like, oh my God, she's still alive? That's such a cop-out.
Well, I think we talked about that, but the whole Man in the Woods thing just didn't work for me at all. I think that would have been better as a revelation. Probably But I mean, if it ends up being Kaplan, would I have preferred to not know that she survived and then we see it like in flashbacks? Like, how the hell could she be alive? Now we're just going crazy, and then they explain it. But I think the show's kind of like in a catch-22. If they do that, it almost seems ridiculous after the fact. It almost seems like a soap opera ploy. Like, okay, you guys just pulled this out of your ass. Where if they started from the get-go, here's what happened to Kaplan as the series went on, it seems more believable to a degree to the audience, I think, and that's why it plays that way. So I think they were really damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Yeah, I like that analysis. Yeah, it's a catch-22 because if you do the way it's played out and everybody's like, oh, it's Kaplan, and like, oh, see, I told you it was Kaplan. It doesn't have the same powerful connection moment. And then if you do it the other way, you're like, oh my God, that's a TV trope. Why'd you do it that way?
Exactly. That's ridiculous. There's no way she survived the headshot. But if you do it immediately after the next episode, the audience, I think, can swallow it a lot more because it's part of the concurrent storyline.
But if you wouldn't have showed it, right? If you would have left her laying there dead on the ground at the end of 402, it would have been like a total Walking Dead moment. I hate to keep comparing to Walking Dead, but it would be a total Walking Dead moment. You get to like the fall finale, and then boom, there's Kaplan, cut to black. And you got to wait 6 weeks or to the next season in order to find out like how she ended up coming back alive.
I would hate that.
It would drive people freaking crazy for weeks.
Absolutely hate that. That's not now. Now. To steal from Tim Curry? No. Don't like that idea at all. I think it is Kaplan. I don't care if it's too easy. To me, that doesn't bother me. I'm not obsessed with surprises. To me, surprises on TV shows, honestly, usually, in my opinion, hurt a show more than help a show. If it's an organic, genuine surprise that feels like part of the narrative, that works fantastic. And that's going to work on repeated viewings. Now, Breaking Bad was a master of that. But if you have like almost, we just did it for shock value, or we just did it to, for like Glenn in the dumpster, if you want to go back to Walking Dead, that whole thing. I mean, that just is more of an insult than anything. And you don't want that. So I think the easy answer doesn't make it a bad answer. That's all.
Okay.
My 2 cents.
Sure.
So who the hell likes the smell of oil paints? I do want to ask that. I've smelled them. I don't think that's an enjoyable aroma.
You'll actually smell some this afternoon because Aaron's coming to have some lunch with me, and we're actually going to my daughter's art class. So, yeah.
Is she good?
She's good. She's really good.
She's as good as Roberto?
No, not quite as good as Roberto. But she doesn't speak Italian either. If she spoke Italian, then she'd be as good as Roberto.
Oh, well, I do. So, I'll help her out. That's not true. I don't speak anything. My wife's Spanish. She don't even speak
Pig
Spanish.
Latin is not Italian.
Ed Ray? It's so hard. I can't do that fast.
No way.
It is Applin K. All right. Maybe I should change the name to Applin K. That would be funny. All right. Aram. He was really the star of the episode, man. I love Aram. I am telling you, I am ready for an Aram spinoff. I would actually watch an Aram spinoff. I'm not making that up. I'm not exaggerating. I really love the character of Aram. How do you think about him getting the spotlight again?
Absolutely loved it. I mentioned it at the top of the show. So we have this development now with the Aram character where he's never shot a gun before back in Ansel Garrick. Then we have the Gaia episode. If you remember the Gaia episode with the helicopter. And he's, is it going to be able to execute the command because he doesn't want to kill the person? And then Cooper executes the command for him. Here we have him literally making that decision to go ahead and grab the rail gun, shoot a car. Number one, you're killing everybody that's in the car. But number two, completely irregardless of anything around that car when it does blow up. I mean, it could hit another car. It could have hit a pedestrian walking a dog. Just literally took matters into his own hands, so that the progression of that character is really, really fascinating. And I love that they can do that with the side character. I hate to say side characters, but the expanded characters on the show, to be able to go deep into that person's arc and be able to flesh those characters out more. I think that's fantastic because it keeps a show like this going for many, many, many years. Look at Grey's Anatomy. For God's sake, they renewed that again for another season. I can't quit that show.
Why is that still on the air, man? And God,
because they keep introducing the additional characters, and the additional characters are interesting. People want to watch the new characters.
And this is where you and I split on agreement, because I do not find that show interesting at all.
Well, but the characters concept you do, because you just said it'd be great to have.
I like the
Elise,
characters. Yeah.
You like to have like a whole Elise thing come into the Blacklist. So, I mean, yeah, we were able to get rid of Mira Malik to bring in Samar, and Samar's an awesome character. So,
although I do want to, I am a little, I feel like Liz has kind of been pushed to the background, though.
I do.
Yeah,
but
I don't like that.
Probably because they have to build her up in order to, that she's tied to Tom. That's the problem. She's tied to Tom right now. So anything that's her character is tied to the redemption setup to get to redemption. And I think Liz will play more of a focus again at the end of the season. As we get to the finale, because she was so prominent in the first half of the season. Like, she's tied to the mythology. Her and Reddington are the mythology parts of the show. And then when you have to do these signpost stops, you have to do some other stuff to make the signposts work. So that's when you get to focus on the other characters, like Ressler with this investigation, or Samar with her relationship with Aram with his, awesome hacking abilities. And then, of course, his conundrum of what does it mean to be an agent and be a human being. I thought that was a really interesting conversation he has. I would have liked the conversation to blown out a little bit more to talk about that. Hey, I killed somebody today. Dig into that a little bit deeper, maybe. And maybe that comes in the next episode too. Because now,
I like
now
that he
he's done
acknowledged
that,
it, though. He acknowledged
totally.
it.
Yeah. But maybe that goes a little bit deeper in the next episode, because now that I've actually killed somebody and just did it because I couldn't interrogate him, maybe he wrestles with that a little bit in the next episode, or he works with Ressler to do some interrogation because he feels he needs to help, cleanse his soul or something.
He wrestles with Ressler.
Yep.
He's very smart, obviously. I mean, he's our hacker extraordinaire, but he kills his comm to get into Black Mass 13. Of course, she spots his former lady love, but he's also winner of the Hacker Olympics, I guess.
Hacker Olympics.
Is that what it was? He got the gold. I mean, he was determined to beat her. That was the funny part.
I'd equate it more to like a Nintendo Power Championships, but sure. The Olympics is fine.
I got the power glove. I love the conversation they have, especially where he's talking to Elise or Janet, or damn it, Janet, or whatever, and says, yeah, but we did it at night with the lights off. I thought, that's his threshold. That's where we were connected, I thought. I like that.
But I guess
apparently
not.
you did.
But I guess not.
I guess not.
Do you think they called her Janet because someone said in the writer's room, damn it, Janet?
They're big Rocky Horror fans. That's probably what happened. Aram ends up helping the architect because he doesn't have a choice. But he ultimately, like you said, blows the architect's ass up like he was in Commando. I was actually wondering what was going to happen with that moment. Then he picks up the gun. I'm like, Aram's going to blow a whole car up? And he does. And I actually, like you said, bought it. I like the progression of the character, but especially afterward, because whenever you see these shows where a hero kills someone, they never really seem to feel a whole lot about it, right?
Right.
And I like that you finally have a character that seems like he feels bad about it. And I like that because that is important to his character. I think Amir plays that very well. And it's just something that if they wouldn't have had it, it probably would have been, to me, like you with Cooper and Liz's conversation about, did he know about her faking her death or whatever? Because I think it's pertinent to his character.
But the Saram response, I think, is what's interesting, because Saram. I said Saram twice, didn't I?
Are you trying to make that happen? What's going on?
Subliminal messaging. Samar says, you did the right thing, I believe is the line she says. And I paused on that for a minute because that's her opinion. Mm-hmm. If you deliver the line, you were just doing your job, that's a completely different context. But when she says you did the right thing, I find that interesting in their relationship dynamic, because maybe for him it wasn't the right thing, and for her it is the right thing. And so does that have some conflict then in whatever budding romance that could be happening there?
Well, if she would have said you're just doing your job, then he would have thought, that's Ressler. You got me confused with Ressler. We're breaking up now.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Keep your man straight. I'll go back to Elise.
I like Aram and Janet a little bit. Like Jamar. Would that be Jamar? Or Jaram? Jaram? Aranit? I don't know how you do those. These shipping labels, man. I can't keep up. I don't know what's what anymore.
That's why you just keep it simple with Spoon.
Exactly. Spoon's the way to go. Spoon. Okay.
So what we have to, do we call her Janet's her real name now, right? Elise was the cover. Janet's her real name. Is that how we came out of this episode?
I'm just calling her for dinner. That's all. What? That's pretty lecherous. It doesn't matter. I think Elise, because that's how we know her at this point. It's kind of like Tom. We still call him Tom, even though his name's Christopher Hardgrave / Jacob / Stud, whatever.
I was just hoping we'd call her Janet so we didn't have to confuse with Elsie and Elise anymore from our other podcast for Westworld.
Thankfully, that's kind of in the back burner. So I've moved on from Westworld. I'm okay. Oosa. But I did like Elise. I hope she comes back. She's a fun addition.
Yeah. Very, very.
I don't know if it's like it's not like throw her in the cast and have her every week kind of thing, but I like having her pop up in Aram's life, and he's got to deal with that conundrum.
Well, she could help Dumont too on the news on the spinoff. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, maybe they're setting that up for that, so she can pop up over there. She could be on the road to redemption.
All three of them have to hack at the same time from 3 different locations in order for something to happen. That'd be cool.
I like her more than the other guy on Redemption. I can't remember his name. So that's how much I like her more. So the show's not over. So don't go anywhere. Not that I dislike him. Please don't take it to mean that.
Dumont was cool. Over. What are you talking about? I like Dumont.
He was the one character I'm like, I could take him or leave him. It felt too much like he's the Aram character, and he doesn't have any of the attributes that Aram has that make him likable.
Because he made him look like the stereotypical hacker guy?
Yes, it's a little too on the nose.
Cheeto fingers and Mountain Dew bottles.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm stereotyping. I'm sorry. I'm talking about myself.
Dude, I got a lot of friends in IT. It's a stereotype for a reason. It's very true. It's very accurate. All right. So, except people do not bang on keyboards that hard.
True.
They just don't. No. Show's not over, so don't go anywhere, but please remember to download the Blacklist Exposed app for iOS or Android, and be sure to go even deeper into the mystery of Red Reddington by visiting our Blacklist partner site, theblacklistnbc.com. We'll be back with Red's Rhetoric right after this. Are you sick of the endless, poorly realized remakes as we are? Then take a listen to Remake This Movie Right, where we take a classic movie, figure out what works and what doesn't, throw a dash of humor at it, and then we craft our own remake. So by the end of every episode, we will remake this movie right. Recently featured as a podcast to listen to by the AV Club, you can find us at RemakeThisMovieRight.com or your podcast app of choice. Every movie you love will get a remake someday, and only you can make it better.
Hey, this is Amir. I play Aram on The Blacklist, and you are listening to The Blacklist Exposed.
Welcome to Red's Rhetoric, that part of the show where we take 2 clips from this week's episode, and you get to vote over at theblacklistexposed.com. Last week, 71% felt that time moves entirely too fast, as Red Cuckoo was the winner last week. Our first clip this week comes when Red is looking for a painter.
Oh, God, I love the smell of oil paints. Almost more than gasoline. Why are there certain toxic smells that just grab you that way?
Che succede? Cosa volete?
Come si dice? Kidnapping.
Rapimento.
You speak Italian?
There was a girl.
Of course there was. Tell Poppetto I'm a great admirer of his work. Not so much his nudes. They're a hair splayed for my taste. And that I do apologize, but I require his services.
Rapimento.
The second comes when Reddington is having his portrait painted.
Reddington.
Oh, my goodness, this is tedious. I'd give almost anything to have a scratch. But seeing as how, given your profession, David, you might be more inclined to squeeze them rather than scratch them, I won't impose. I'll just wait for the next break.
Why is he painting your portrait?
I only brought him here to leverage you to kill him unless you give me the name of the depositor who has declared war. But once I properly introduced myself, the little fella just lit right up.
I didn't fly him all the way here to paint your... Where is my portrait?
He needed the canvas. Turns out he's a huge fan of spaghetti westerns. The anti-hero, the outlaw, you know.
That's quite enough. Out.
Shh. Ti prego, ragazzo mio. Solo un paio d'ore con quest'uomo. È una leggenda.
He is the sweetest man. It's going to break my heart to put a bullet in his head, but that's what'll happen unless you tell me who at your bank is coming after me.
You wouldn't.
I would. In fact, what better way to assure my place in history? The last portrait by a master unfinished, killed by his subject, and you without a portrait at all. It's a shame.
My business is based on absolute privacy. Okay. Just stop. Give me the stick, and I'll look into it. But you have to promise, please, spare the man's life.
We'll see how the portrait turns out.
Which was your favorite? If you like the smell of oil over gasoline, vote #red paint. Or if you want to see how the painting turns out, vote #red art.
All right, now we move into our special agent intel. What you guys thought of this week's show. Douglas Bumgarner said, best episode this season, #the way Blacklist should be, #trust the process. This is a lot of hashtags, Douglas.
Vera said, Dembe was not betraying Red by telling Lizzie about Kaplan. In practical terms, Lizzie and Dembe are Red's only kin siblings, so to speak. One sibling is worried about a parent. It is natural to tell the other sibling. So he told Lizzie he was worried about his parent, that he had tried to reach his parent and was unable to do so. He asked his sibling for help to see if she could reach the parent. Note, he would have betrayed Red if Red had let Tom in on the conversation with Lizzie. He purposely did not do that. So I think Vera here is saying, yeah, the two of them may be working together, potentially.
It's possible. Wouldn't that be interesting if it was actually Liz and Dembe that were doing it? Oh, snap, son.
Doing it as in helping to take down Red, not actually doing it.
Maybe to take him down a notch. Get him refocused. Punish him for what he did. Maybe that's possible. Maybe, we didn't even consider this option. Maybe Kaplan went to Liz, and Liz is helping Kaplan.
That's an interesting twist.
Yeah, like Kaplan gave access to the accounts, but Liz is actually doing it.
I don't want this one thrown out there, but it's something you have to consider because of the whole opium den thing and Red being in his own mind and Kate May and all that stuff. What if,
is this where you say Katerina did it, and it's actually Red split personality as Katerina doing it?
Not necessarily Katerina, but the split personality, yes. Maybe Red has, he loses time or something because of all the things that's happened to him over the years. So it could be Red's doing it to himself and he doesn't even know he's doing it to himself because he has a dual personality issue. Hence, still the imposter theory would work for that.
That's interesting. Actually, that's interesting.
I've seen that happen in another show. That's why I brought it up.
Like Kaplan, the murder of Kaplan caused his mind to fracture.
Exactly.
I don't know if
things
that make you go.
I don't know if I like that idea, but it's something that could work because it would fit the psychosis part of it.
Possibly, as long as he still has his
male
All
parts.
Right.
Yeah, got it.
Dondi said, "That's a clinical term, people. Don't be mad at me." Dondi said, "In my opinion, they are now telegraphing that the person responsible for Red's latest stack of problems is Mr. Kaplan. It's understandable given the circumstances. What I do not like is the scorched earth tactics that she is using. Yeah, because she should be nice when he shot her in the head. Going after Red is one thing, but she has done so in such a way that several very sympathetic characters have been killed. Well, all right, there's a case there. That destroys her character for me, and I really find it distasteful. Not for me, Donnie, because she's also a bad guy."
It's true. That is true.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's more. I'm sorry.
Keep going.
In general, sorry, I thought we were done. In general, it seems to me that Red is in a death spiral. I would not be surprised if the show winds up next year, since I don't think they can continue this for much longer than that. As for this week's episode, I like everything Aram. Me too, man. #Aram adorable. From dealing with his ex to Xing out the architect, it was all good. I know there will be consequences to his marksmanship, but if nothing else, Samar looked like she was having a revelation. She sure was, man. She wanted to have his babies. As for the other characters, at this point, the Tom arc is doing okay. Cooper's starting to push back at Red, and I suspect something will to come of it. Ressler has boarded the Justice for Rev and Right train, but I think that arc is for next year. Liz was sort of quiet. Samara was mainly there to bask in the glory that was Aram. That's funny. A tip of the hat to the lady who played Aram's ex. I like her character and would not mind seeing her again. What's her name, Troy?
Annie Heat. Heis.
I've heard it both ways.
Yes.
Red is unraveling, but at least he is doing so in an entertaining manner. Sadly, when he goes, he will take Dembe with him. See you next week, Dondi.
Nice. James wrote in and said, Troy and Aaron, great podcast last week. Glad to see that the Blacklist is back on track. Not sure the reason for the decline in viewers. I'm not sure if there's anybody that knows if there will be a season 5 or even the rest of season 4. There's been very little said, and I believe this is the longest time over the 4 years it has taken NBC for their announcement. Maybe the 4 bosses know along with the writers and the cast. It's just my opinion that this is the best damn drama series that has ever been produced for television.
Wow.
I also like to mention that everyone who's involved are the very best of all the networks, including the 2 best podcasters in the business. Thank you, James.
Ooh, hey, let's just focus on that part for a minute.
Exactly. But including the most important thing, the fans. We all hope that the show will continue so that the remaining story can be told, and hope that it will last for years on end.
Thank you very much. Very kind words for us and the show itself. So, I would like to... I don't know how many years I would want to see it go, but I'm not one of those people that thinks a TV show should go 9-10 years. I just look at Grey's Anatomy like we were talking about.
14?
It's just stupid. It's just dumb that the show is still on the air. Come on.
What was
other stories to tell?
What was the ER run? I'm just curious now.
Wasn't it like close to 20 or something? Or it had to be 15 to 20, right? I don't know, because once Clooney left, I was done. You take Clooney out of anything and I'm done.
That's true. 15 seasons.
Holy cow.
And
Apparently, when you got a medical drama, that lasts forever.
They were all like 22-episode seasons, too, because if you take the 25 from season 1 and the 23 from season 13, it'll erase the 4 episodes that were missing from season 14. So, yeah.
Give me more Psych. Since I got to give all of this Grey's Anatomy crap, I want more Psych. Bring that show back. I miss Dooley Hill. I do want to say...
What if Dooley Hill was a blacklister?
I would squee. I would probably pee myself, honestly. Him or James Roday. I love James Roday too. So, but Dooley is more of he's got a lot more facets to him as an actor. True. I mean, if you ever see West Wing, he was fantastic on that too. I know we're on a tangent, but hey, it's our podcast, so what are you gonna do?
There you go.
I would like to. Can you clarify the ratings thing? Because some people seem to be confused. It's not. People look at the overnights, and people don't watch a show live as much anymore. And so don't panic, guys.
And
really,
and winter is really a tough time of the year. Also, like, people think that people really want ratings to be higher. I've never understood why February sweeps, why February seems to be the month to measure this stuff. I would be measuring it more like October or November, for sweeps specifically. But then February just happens to be the time. But at this time of year, people are just kind of like, doing other things, and they're getting ready and vacationing and hibernating or whatever it is they do. But the ratings are what they are. And especially when you're talking about 10 o'clock at night, 10 p.m., really, I think the central time zone actually helps out the TV shows because it's on at 9 o'clock in the central time zone. But 10 o'clock is late on a Thursday. And so people, I think, are just recording it and then doing it on the DVR because they have the option now. I mean, the Live +3 and the Live +7 are still strong for the Blacklist. It's just not getting the live same day. It seems to be the issue. And it's the Live +3 that you really want to take a look at because that's still considered good enough for the advertisers. The Live +7, not so much, but it is what it is.
Agreed. I'm glad we clarified that. We move on to Ella. She said, Brent Spiner made this episode instantly amazing. The actor who played my favorite character on my favorite show ever, my favorite ever show on my second favorite show. I just got confused on what you said, but my inner geek chuckled when Elise/Janet said data. What more could I ask for? This episode was awesome, and I'm really enjoying this Tom storyline, which surprises me because I've never really liked Tom. I would agree. I think his story, it's interesting. It's a nice mystery. Other than the other mystery, which is who's watching Agnes. We got that one. We need that answered. But for the past few episodes, I've enjoyed seeing him as badass and criminal Tom. I can't stand fatherly good Tom.
Thank you.
Well, then you are in good hands because apparently he just neglects that child now. On another note, how great was Amir/Aram in this episode? Nothing but praise from what I've seen on the internets.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you, Ella. Nate says, another great episode of The Blacklist, and all I have to say is Aram is one bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth, Shaft.
I'm so happy that the writers put a focus on Aram for an episode. He was able to use his analytical mind and be somewhat of an action hero. I thought the tension between Red and Cooper was quite interesting. Cooper should have known that Red was going after Isabella Stone.
Oh, yeah, it's Cooper's fault.
Yeah. maybe
Come on.
Maybe put 2 extra vans on there next time so you can kill more people when they flip over. I'm left wondering who at Main Justice is pressuring Cooper and if the story thread will continue. I'm glad that they have Ressler to give a little bit more for him this episode, and I wonder how he will handle the close of the Reverend Wright investigation for their episodes. Really enjoying Tom's storyline and how it's leading to redemption. The multiple layers of Tom, Jacob, and now Christopher are fascinating as he delves into the mystery of his disappearance as a child. As for the results of Red's search, I was shocked. I was hoping that it wouldn't be Mr. Kaplan, but it sure does feel that way. I'm sure we'll find out very soon who the mystery foe is. Now for the big stuff. Brent Spiner was beyond great. I loved his plan. I wish we could have more of him. He would be a great foil for Red. Overall, this was a well-rounded episode. The writers and showrunners are hitting things on all cylinders, and I cannot wait for what's next.
I just want to point out, you didn't actually see him blow up. It's TV, man. You didn't actually cut to him in the vehicle to make sure that we knew he was in there. He could have jumped out or something. It could be one of those things.
He was driving the car.
He could have jumped out the last minute. It's TV. We see it all the time. Did you ever watch A-Team?
We just talked about this, whether or not you wanted to see Kaplan dead or not dead or come back to life thing. And
Hey, shh. We don't talk about what I've said, okay? Don't focus on what I've said. We know I don't know what I'm talking about.
Hey, Brent Spiner is an alien robot.
Why does everything end up with robots with you, man? You've got a fetish.
Because
Seriously.
he was choked to death by the alien in Resurgence, and then he was,
that, and you equate everything to robots. I think secretly you hope Reddington is a robot.
That would be fun.
No, it wouldn't.
His face just splits open.
God.
Turn the other cheek.
Wendy Davies, another fine episode, but as Blacklisters go, meh. I felt storyline has been kind of dumb before, or something akin to it. Aram out in the field can only be a good thing. It will build up his character more. Wonder if we'll see Janet/Elise again. A lot of people are wondering if we're going to see her again.
Yeah.
They left that trail open, don't you think? Ressler going after Hitchens, Cooper going after Red. Geez Louise, these guys certainly have got the grumps of late. To be fair, both the guys have loved ones going through a crisis of some sort, and it's obviously getting to them, especially if they're having to do Red's bidding, which brings me on to this. Cooper almost begging Red for a blacklister because the sitting chief upstairs thinks that the PO is a waste of time and threatens to close them down. They seem to have had enough work prior to Red coming out of his hidey hole to warrant it, so what is it? They've gotten too good at their jobs and caught all the bad guys, and now they need Red to keep them in their jobs? Not much Red, boo hiss, but what we did, it was great.
Yeah. Maybe that's just it. Maybe they're like, hey, we like doing this task force. Give us a season 5. We need more blacklisters.
Yeah, I think it was just that he attacked the feds, man. You can't attack your own people, and that's what Red, in theory, did here.
Oh, totally true. Yeah. And we didn't talk about Red's daughter having the illness or whatever Red mentioned.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
So is that the parallelism concepts going on there? Like your daughter, and I'm sorry your daughter has an illness, and I could totally sympathize or empathize with you kind of thing?
Yeah, I would agree. There's some similarities there, sure.
All right, we'll have to go back and watch that again. Linda said, okay, just finished streaming here, so my immediate thoughts, which are always scary. Number 1, why do they keep calling her Isabella Stone when her name is Judith Pruitt? Number 2, Red is being systematically undone by the real Raymond Reddington.
Oh, we're back to that, huh?
Yeah. Since late season 1, I have been an imposter theorist, though many of you can poke holes in it. I believe the Red and Liz bio dad were agents together. Liz's dad turned, and Red was off the record assigned to kill him. The night of the fire was that attempt. Red died in the fire. Liz's bio dad decided to become Raymond Reddington so that he could continue to live. And now after all these years, we are about to find out that the real Red didn't die and is ready for Liz's bio dad to suffer revenge.
Well, that made my head hurt.
It's an interesting thing.
It is. Oh, yeah, I get where she's coming from.
There's actually some credence to this, too, because I was having a conversation with some people. I think it was on Facebook. Maybe it was on Tumblr. I'm not sure. But if you've read...
It definitely wasn't in person because we don't do that in America anymore.
Heck no. Do that on April 22nd. We'll definitely do that, though. But
Wow, you really are a marketing whore.
I am.
Nice segue.
It's my day job. Anyways, the conversation went around. If you remember the night of the fire, right? There's the guy who's laying on the floor, and again, memories of a 4-year-old are completely subject to change and interpretation and whatever Red said during that episode with Luther Braxton. But the guy on the floor looked like, and the guy that was fighting in the window looked like they were wearing a fedora, right? So you assume that maybe it could be Reddington. Point of note, the comic books were classified as canon from the writer's room. And if you read the first 5 comic books or volume 1 of the graphic novel, The Gambler, at the end of The Gambler, you actually get to see Sebastian Royce, who wears a fedora, lose the fedora, and then Red picks up the fedora and puts it on his head. And we've kind of labeled that as the birth of the fedora. The birth of the fedora happens in the end of, or towards the end of 1994, when Red comes, quote unquote, out of hiding for the first time to start his 20-year criminal run. The fire happens in 1990. So there is a possibility that this Raymond Reddington that we are seeing is somebody that's different than the person that died in the fire, who could have been the biodad of Liz or whatever. So I like where Linda's going with this. It kind of fits.
We really do have a board, don't we?
We do.
My
God.
God.
Got to keep all this stuff straight.
It's either that or you are a robot, because I don't know how you just threw all that out. My God, man. Sleep sometime. That's all right. Go into rest mode. There's nothing here. What door? All right. Moving on. Samya. That probably makes more sense. Okay. It was good, but I'm waiting for spinoff to complete. So Blacklist will be back with awesome content. Everything feels forced. I love to see Tom in business, but not on Blacklist. I really hope the spinoff works, because I do not want to see him on the Blacklist. Damn. I guess Samaya is like, that's what's up, Tom.
It's true. Yeah, I love the people that love that Tom is an awesome badass guy, because we agree.
That's funny. I can't wait to see him on another show.
There's a reason why he was Blacklister 007. Just saying. James Bond didn't have a baby.
Yes. How many times are we going to bring that up? We get it. 007.
Yes.
Right on the button.
No baby for James Bond. Just
Speaking of, I just rewatched The Rock. You ever see that movie? The 1996 movie with Sean Connery?
She was the prom queen.
Yes. And he plays basically like James Bond, who's been imprisoned for 30 years, and he comes out. And I'm watching that going, people need to stop using James Bond references, because there is only one James Bond.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying.
He's after Alex Trebek. Anita.
Suck it, Trebek.
Anita said, maybe it's the cabal. If they grabbed Marvin Gerard and or his girlfriend, they could be forcing him to give them Red's financial information.
It's true.
Not only would they have the account numbers, he would have authorization to make the transactions and access to Dembe's power of attorney, which we did learn in the Cape May episode.
Interesting. Suzanne says, I bet it's Kaplan behind Raymond's castration. She was a person who knew all of Raymond's secrets. She could have accessed his bank accounts. However, I think there may be a twist. Perhaps Kaplan wasn't trying to castrate Raymond, but rather preventing someone who is. Kaplan may still be looking out for her employer. That shot her in the head. That's my added bonus.
That's an interesting concept, right? Take all the money out of the accounts to hide it somewhere else, because she knew that there was an immediate threat, potentially.
Yeah, it's the old, I did it for your own good theory.
Yeah, look what that got her last time.
Yeah, got her shot in the head.
Neil said, the problem with Kaplan being behind Raymond's problems right now is all of the collateral damage being done. Everyone else being ruined or killed. Would she really be behind that? I hope not.
He shot her in the head. Why do people keep missing that? Just because she knew that she might have had it coming doesn't mean that she's cool with it. I like Troy. If I wrong Troy and he shoots me in the head, I'm going to be like, you know what? I had it coming. I'm still going to kick Troy's ass as soon as I heal. You still shot him in the head. Shot her in the head. So that's all.
Is that why you're coming for lunch today? Maybe I got to change my plans.
You might want to meet in a public place. Barbara, I cannot believe Kaplan would kill Red's associates, whom she knows, to get back at Red. She would go after him alone. I do think she could save him and probably will. I still believe the cabal is behind this with Laurel Hitchens. So much time was devoted to taking them over when they were trying to kill Red. Laurel is being brought up again as Ressler is reopening a drop case regarding Raven's death. Coincidence? We're getting a lot of feedback on this one.
We did. Linda said, I can maybe see Kate stealing Red's funds, but I cannot see her killing his associates. She is not an evil person.
Are you sure about that? She's a cleaner. I mean, that's not a great person, right?
They're already dead, though. It's not. She just, she just likes, using chemicals and stuff to.
I'm pretty sure she's killed people before. Am I wrong?
Well, she did shoot that when Raymond was on his deathbed. She shot that gun across the room and took out those guys that were breaching in. So yeah, so she has killed.
Exactly,
but killed for protection.
Oh my God, she's not an angel. Come on. Elena says, I am convinced now it's Mr. Kaplan. It may be too obvious to us, but imagine Red's shock when he finds out she's alive. I agree. I think that would be a great moment for Red because he doesn't know. We do.
We do. Sabine said, intense episode ending. Red is finished. My money's on...
No, he's not. Come on.
My money's on Dembe. Still hoping Kaplan will come to Red's rescue. There will be a huge cliffhanger, I believe, at the winter finale.
Yeah, I agree with that. Which makes me wonder, are they going to have some crossover with the Blacklist on Redemption?
Maybe.
Since they've had a lot of, Tom getting ready for Redemption. Are they going to have anything on Redemption to get ready for Blacklist? You know what I mean?
Well, I guess it depends on how they decide to end the episode. And remember, Blacklist is going to be airing an hour earlier this week. It'll be on at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, with Redemption following after in the normal Blacklist time slot. So it'll be interesting to see if they treat this as a 2-hour show or if they treat this as a 1 hour, and you just have Tom walk out the door and then show up, on a subway station or somewhere on the next episode kind of thing.
Right. Be interesting to see.
Because apparently he's going to New York because that's where the note came from.
Lastly, Priscilla says it better not be Dembe doing all this to Red. Kaplan is the obvious choice. Too easy. But like I'll tell you, just like college, too easy wasn't bad. I'm sorry, that was probably too much. But Dembe, now that would be a shocker and heartbreaking.
True.
You could probably delete that. All right. That's going to conclude this episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Blacklist GSM, where we live tweet during the East Coast feed, and we use the show's hashtag, The Blacklist.
Don't forget to follow us on Tumblr, Instagram, and join the Facebook group. Just look for at The Blacklist GSM. That's where we are everywhere. Or search for The Blacklist Exposed. Talk about the show, the podcast, or share your favorite rabbit food smoothie recipes.
Oh, that was a funny joke. We didn't even talk about that. That was funny. You can also subscribe to the podcast in iTunes, listen from the website. But if you're really on the go, make sure you download our app for iOS or Android powered by Spreaker. You also find all the intel and analysis about this episode for The Architect by visiting theblacklistexposed.com. Big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question, which was, why does Cooper want Maine Justice's approval?
And our second question of, what do you want to see coming out of Redemption?
Yes, what do you want to see from Tom and the gang and Famke? Oh, Famke.
It's going to be here next week, guys. It's going to be fun.
Oh, next week is going to be an interesting podcast because we're going to have to cover both shows. So
we are.
We don't know how we're going to do it yet, but we will do it.
I'm sure it'll be 4 hours long.
Oh, boy. No, it won't.
No, it won't.
All right. Come back next week. It's going to be fun.
See ya. Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinritz. That's at Troy Heinritz on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinritz.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsider.com or on Twitter at H_outsider. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.